It's been way too long, but I finally have all the main MCU Spider-Man figures. Hello, this is Ken. I like making things. I love finding affordable ways to DIY a variety of things. Money can't buy everything, except maybe figures. I love collecting figures and recreating iconic scenes. Every figure deserves to shine on my display. So every week I ask myself the same question, and answer it by creating something I'm proud of. Join my weekly adventure by subscribing to my channel. Leave your feedback and suggestions down below. I often get inspired by your comments, and I hope I can inspire you too. Last week, I fixed a retro Venom figure from Spider-Man the Animated Series. It's my first time fixing a non-MCU Marvel figure. Check that out. Today is the day I've been waiting for a very long time. I finally got my hands on a No Way Home integrated suits figure. It's been sold out everywhere. And I didn't pre-order it because I wasn't sure if it was going to be the main suit for the movie, or if the figure was going to be screen accurate. It also didn't help that this figure only comes with 2 extra hands, but I'm so glad I finally got it. It's a lot nicer in person, but it's not perfect. So, let's deconstruct this figure. Longtime viewers know what the main issue is. It's that radioactive orange-red. Hasbro keeps using this bright and vibrant orange-red on its figures, and I find it very unpleasant looking. I think the reason is because you don't usually see this kind of red in real life. So when you see it on a figure, it just makes it look that much more like a toy. Like it's trying to grab a kid's attention from a mile away. But I'm a little older now. Vibrant colors don't really do anything to me. So the first thing I gotta do is to deepen that red. Change it from being a warm orange red to more of a cool darker red. The other thing I noticed is that his arms aren't exactly screen accurate. It appears that this figure is based on the concept art. He doesn't actually have the gauntlets in the movie, and the colors on his hands are swapped. I also noticed that the neck appears to be made out of a separate piece, but they didn't provide an alternate neck or an unmasked head. I can already see it now. They're going to release another version with the proper hands and a masked head in the future. Anyway, this shouldn't be too difficult to fix. So, can I make it? I'm gonna fix the red first. At this point, I've already fixed 3 Spider-Man with slightly different methods, so I think I know what to do now. Check those videos out if you haven't already. I'm applying Holiday Red over the orange red. This red is quite sheer, so it's hard to see the actual color on camera. Or maybe the orange red is just too vibrant. Why is it so bright? It may look like nothing's happening, and it may be true, but at least what this layer of paint will do is that it will mattify the texture, getting rid of that plastic sheen. Okay, I'm gonna remove the gauntlets, keeping the figure screen accurate. Speaking of, I really like the red hands for the black fingertips. They look so unique and cool. It makes me a little sad that I have to paint over them, but I want to make my figures as screen accurate as possible. Okay, the red I'm using actually seems to be the same orange red, but it's okay. I can fix that later. Let me finish the hands first. Gotta paint the rest of the hands black. Alright, next, gotta add those weblines back in. The figure just looks bland without them, but I'm not a fan of harsh weblines. I prefer more of a subtle look. So instead of adding in black weblines, I'm gonna paint them in with the blue instead. I did this to my Iron Spider figure too. The idea is to fill in the lines roughly, and then use the red again to clean up the lines. This serves 2 purposes. 1. The lines won't be as harsh, and the blue will blend with the warm red, making it more of a cool toned red, creating the perfect red that I want. I like this method because I don't have to hyper-focus on the weblines and make sure each line is filled in perfectly. I don't have that patience. I also think that this makes the suit feel more realistic and less comic-like. In the movies, the web lines aren't that prominent. They're sometimes barely visible too, especially in the first two movies. Here are the legs all painted. Not bad. I'm gonna do the rest of the figure now. Now the key is to make sure the paint isn't fully dried when applying the red over the blue. There's a small window where the blue seeps into the crevices, but is still wet enough to be blended with the red. If I wait too long, the paint may become dry and won't blend. Or worse, I start rubbing the paint off. So it's best to work on a section at a time. I also recommend keeping the brush dry. A damp brush would make blending easier, but in this case, it may wash out the lines, blending everything into one color. Knowing when to stop is also important. Thin layers of paint will look more natural in the end. Okay, here's the figure with all the web lines filled in. It already looks pretty cool. I can stop here, but I want to deepen the black on the suit too. It's a little on the grey side, so I'm just brushing a thin layer of black over the grey. This will give the suit more contrast, so the gold will pop more in the end. I'm also painting the bottom of his feet black. All the MCU Spider-Man suits seem to have black soles. Now this suit is essentially the Far From Home suit with the nanotech added onto it, so the feet should be the same too. Unfortunately, unlike the Far From Home version, there aren't any molded details for his feet, so I'm gonna make the black lines around his feet thinner. I don't want to visually shrink his feet too much. Alright, let me put the hands back on. Here's the figure all fixed. Okay, the wrists are kind of bothering me. Now his wrists look too fragile. But before I put the gauntlets back on, let me seal the paint first. I'm gonna apply a layer of matte varnish over the red areas of the suit, especially the hands. I don't want the hands to chip. The varnish will add a bit of protection from minor scratches. I'm not gonna apply the varnish over the gold or the black areas of the suit. That way, there'll be 3 distinct textures on this figure, so it looks less like it's made out of the same plastic. Alright, here's the finished figure. I love this. The red is now more believable, and the gold stands out much better against the darker colors. I ended up giving him the gauntlets. I don't mind them. I think it completes the look. There's just enough gold here and there to make the suit feel like the ultimate MCU Spider-Man suit. What do you think? Do you like what I've done? Let me know down below. Oh, I want to try something. I fixed the Peter Parker head a while back, and I loved how the head turned out. But it looked a little strange on the Far From Home figure. Let me see how it looks on this one. Wow, this looks amazing, especially from the front. I wish it came with a skin-colored neck, because this head looks so good on the body. Maybe it's the gold. It complements Tom's skin color very well. Hey, you can now support me on Patreon. I post quite regularly there, from behind-the-scenes updates to sneak peeks to video breakdowns. Top-tier members will receive a DIY 3D mini poster every month. This month's mini poster features Peter Parker, inspired by the crying scene in No Way Home. These mini posters look great by themselves, but even cooler next to other mini posters. I love making things, and this is my way to thank my supporters. The link to my Patreon is in the description box down below. This was very fun. I really thought I wouldn't like this figure, because I really like the Far From Home red and black suit. I'm glad I got this figure in the end. I wish it came with more accessories, but I'm super satisfied with how this turned out. It's now my favorite MCU Spider-Man suit. It's like the best version of all the previous suits. The solid lines from Homecoming, the gold from Iron Spider, and the overall look from Far From Home. The only thing I'm a little bummed about is the posability. He got these bigger shoulders, so I'm not able to raise his arm as high as I wanted. So the poses are a bit more limited compared to the other figures. But presentation-wise, This is close to perfect in my opinion. Alright, time to end it with a photo shoot. The shoulders are more limiting here, but I love the overall silhouette of the figure. This Spider-Man just feels more mature. Crouching poses aren't as easy to do though, but I love all the standing poses. Even the back too. The goat symbol looks great on the back, and the Peter Parker head, it just fits this figure so much better. It looks so natural with this suit. I think I'll display mine with the mask off. What do you think? Do you agree? Let me know down below. Which version of the MCU Spider-Man suit is your favorite? I don't know how I feel about the more comic accurate one he wore at the end of the movie. It looked a little too CGI for me, but it was only teased for a few seconds, so maybe it will look better once I see it in action properly. But for now, this one is definitely my favorite. Give this video a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. There are more Marvel Legends content coming. Stay inspired, and I'll see you next week. I can make it, so can you.